Welcome to another video episode of Tripawd Talk Radio. And if you're watching on the Tripawds YouTube channel, please check the show notes for links or visit tripawds.com/radio to listen on your favorite podcast app. I'm Jim, aka admin at the Tripawds blogs and forums, and with me as usual,
I'm Renee, also known as Jerry in the Tripawds community.
And today we are very excited to introduce you to two more amazing sporting tripods, including a recent recipient of an AKC ACE Award. We'll tell you what that is. And with us, we have dog moms Mary Pat and Penny to tell us all about Tara and Neon. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Well, first of all, I need to say a bigger thank you. Oh my gosh, Mary Pat. So folks, the reason we know about these two amazing dog moms is because late last year, the Tripawds community, the Tripawds Foundation, received a donation from the AKC. And we got this letter.
A $1,000 donation.
A $1,000 donation from the AKC. And it turns out that it came from Mary Pat, who chose the Tripawds Foundation as her charity of choice when her dog, Tara, won the AKC ACE Award. So we're going to get into that in a little bit, but I just want to say thank you very much. That was such an incredible gift.
Well, you're very, very welcome. It was our pleasure to do that.
Well,
so let's find out why.
Yeah, let's jump
which
into
ACE
that.
Award
Okay.
and why.
Okay, this story is there's twists and turns and things. So it has to start with you, Penny, because Mary Pat wouldn't have heard about us if it wasn't for you. So give us a little bit of your backstory with you and Neon and how you came to the Tripawds community.
All right, so Neon, he's my flat-coated retriever. I bred him, and he was 9 years old. We were out doing some tracking because I was getting ready to try to get him certified in tracking so that he could be a versatile dog. He did a lot in agility and field. He has senior hunter and his MX and MXJ, which is master agility. We were working towards his mock and doing some tracking, and he started limping. And I couldn't figure out, what was going on. It was on and off and on and off and on and off. Finally took him to a vet up in Baltimore, Dr. Sherman Knapp, and he diagnosed him with histiocytic sarcoma.
Lucky you.
And it was his shoulder joint. Yeah. So we, as things go, when you have that cancer, it's not something that you wait on. So we went. I have a good surgeon in Charlottesville that I went to, and we went through the amputation, and had his leg removed on that. So
now, histiocytic sarcoma is one of those cancers that has a really scary prognosis. What did you think when they told you about it?
I was horrified. I've done a lot. I'm on the cancer support team and the health committee of the Flat-Coated Retriever Society. So I've dealt with a lot of cancer cases before him. And when that happened, I was horrified. I really was. I mean, when you love your dog like that and you get that, it just rips your heart right out.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So they gave you the option to amputate, and you did. Then what happened?
Well, I mean, actually, before I have a train going by. Before that, I did a lot of research on it to find out, is he a good candidate? And he was in excellent physical shape and all. But I did a lot of research on it and trying to find out, if he does this, what do I have to do? What do I expect? And that's where I actually came across your site, and I downloaded your PDF. It was three legs and a spare, and there was a lot of great information in that I got from you, and that helped get me through it. It gave me answers and also gave me some questions that I needed to ask my surgeon and my oncologist about what I needed to do, and that's how I came across your site.
Well, I'm so glad you found us. That's what we're here for. And it's funny because when we first learned about you, I looked you up and I couldn't find any information about you. And you told me later that you're a lurker and you went to the forums and you went to the blogs, but I totally understand. We get a lot of people like that. So you went through this recovery. How did he recover? What was that like for you?
Well, as I was saying earlier, the day after his surgery, my husband and I went up to see him, and they were telling me, I have a feeling that this guy's going to go home tomorrow because he's up, he's running around, he wants to go outside. And it's just like nothing ever happened. He did fall over a few times. He forgot, but yeah, he was up and running, and the couple days after, they were rough. We had him on some strong pain medicines, and that kept him subdued. But a few days after that, I mean, he was moving and running around kind of slowly, as slowly as I could keep him. And then we started just working him again a little bit. Some like, I'm trying to think of that, the Tripawds stuff. We did some of that to try to get him going and doing some walking. And then from there, 3 months later, I had entered him in a NADAC, a North American Dog Agility Council agility trial. And he ran a hoopers course, which was just hoops, no jumping at all, just hoops and tunnels. And we qualified 3 months after his surgery.
Wow.
Good for him.
That is so impressive. And NADAC does allow Tripawds to compete in agility. We had one many years ago who was a NADAC dog. Did you ever think that he would be able to do the tunnels with one missing leg? I mean, a lot of people would doubt their dog's ability to do that.
His size, I think tunnels they're 24 in AKC, so his withers were 24. So he could get through them in a little duck. It was a little bit of a challenge, but no, he's a smart boy, so he figured that out pretty quick. Yeah, lower tunnel, like he got his rat.
It's just so good to know that, a tripod.
Yeah, so yep, he did.
So that is so cool, and it just, it's so helpful to know that a dog can bounce back. And like we like to tell people, not all dogs bounce back as quickly because it really depends on your dog's previous fitness level before amputation. So clearly Neon was in great shape, bounced back like that, and was back to doing what he loved. So how long was it until you got contacted by Mary Pat about her own dog, Tara?
I think it was not long after the surgery, because Neon, I'm trying to think back. Neon had the surgery in February. And Mary Pat, was it April that we met in Winchester and you had Tara?
Okay, so are you talking about when we first met or after the award?
When you first learned about it.
I remember when we first met. It was in Winchester. I thought it was before his surgery, but it was a Winchester dock diving agility event in hang on, I can think about this, because she went 2018.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
2018.
I lost you. Here we go.
So Mary Pat, let's jump into your story now. Had you ever seen a Tripawd before Neon? Had you ever seen a Tripawd do any kind of competitive sports?
Oh yeah. I'm a massage therapist who specializes in animal massage, and so I'm around a lot of different athletic dogs, and I've definitely seen a lot of Tripawds, and I had seen some do different sports. Yes.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, let's talk a little bit about your background now. So you got into massage therapy, and you're also a Reiki healer, is that correct?
Yes.
Awesome. Now, what are the kinds of things that you've experienced in your own patients when trying to help a Tripawd get back into fitness?
The biggest thing are the compensation patterns that develop. And that can vary greatly depending on the size of dog, the type of dog, whether it's a front leg or a hind leg amputee. And so a lot of what the massage therapy does is keep the rest of the body from developing compensation patterns that may jeopardize the integrity of the remaining limbs. So front leg Tripawds, that's hard. A lot of times I think of the hind leg tripod, and yes, it's difficult in many ways, but especially for the flat coats, what I have seen and longer back dogs is there's a lever aspect to lifting up. And when the back is longer, it burns a lot more energy for them. And so what I do a lot of is help the remaining limbs, and also in a front leg tripod, your neck is considered your fourth limb. It's your fourth leg. And so you've got to keep the neck very supple, and of course any impact on the back. And that also can vary whether it's a complete amputation or a partial amputation. So
Interesting. I don't think we've ever heard of the neck being called the fourth leg before. That's a great
But there
way
is
to
a lot
put
of
that.
compensatory
Yeah,
action there in
definitely.
momentum going forward.
yeah, and actually I
develop a lot
didn't
of
come up
strength.
with that one. That was from a rehabilitation veterinarian that I highly respect in Maryland. So.
And who might that be? We're always looking for
Oh,
good
Dr.
names.
Faith Latzikas. I hope I just
Okay.
said her name correctly. Oh dear.
Well, thanks for sharing that.
Dr. Faith in Skelos is the name of the sports medicine place in Frederick, Maryland, and one other location. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we're always looking for good places.
She's the
to
rehab
refer
vet.
people.
She's utterly phenomenal. Yes.
Okay, so now let's talk about Tara. How did you two connect?
Tara and me?
Uh-huh.
Oh, so I worked on Tara's mom. Tara's mom won her breed at Westminster, Orlando, and she won the national specialty. I think Penny, she had a senior hunter title. I'm not entirely sure, but so, and I worked on Tara's mom prior to her Westminster breed win and other events. So I already knew that she had been bred, and I knew there was a litter. I actually had lost my dog. So Tara was born in January 2016. I had lost my dog in July the previous year. Wasn't really looking. I don't normally look. They just find me. And my friend Angie Lloyd, who's premier dog handler in the country, internationally known, and she handled Tara's mom, and she whelped this litter. And she called me one day and she said, I realize she left me a message, realized you may not be ready for this, but I have this really special puppy here from Macy's litter. And my thought was, Angie called me, so I went to go see the litter. She never told me. She never told me what was up with the puppy, just kept saying she was special.
They're all special, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I just went, but Angie and I are good friends, and Angie knows me, and Angie wouldn't say that lightly. So I went. And I sat down with this. They were a little over 4 weeks, and I sat down with this group of 8 4-week flat-coated retrievers crawling all over me on the floor, and I just waited for one of them to talk to me. And there was this loud screech, and I looked around to see, somebody bit somebody else too hard, and there was this little puppy just sitting kind of a little bit away from the others and staring at me. And we made eye contact, and she lifted up her little stump, and that was that.
So do they know how that happened? Often it's the umbilical cord or it gets bit off.
Yeah, we'll never know. She came down the birth canal with no sac, and she came out with her mouth. They really didn't think she was alive, but as soon as she came out, she started screaming. And Penny knows Tara. That sort of describes Tara into the world, and screamed at the top of her lungs to say, I am here and I want to be here. And that was an open wound, her inner fist. Yeah, it was very strange, but.
Oh, wow. So she was determined to make a mark on this world and find the right person to help her do that, clearly. Now, had you ever had a tripod yourself?
No.
No, wow.
I take that back. My mother lived with me for about 4.5 years towards the end of her life, and she had a tripod cat. Yeah. I lived with that kitty and a rear leg amputation.
And it sounds like with Tara, it was a front limb, right?
It's her front right. Yes.
So you brought her home, and then what was her life like, as you know, in the next year or so? Did you know exactly what kind of therapy to do with her? Did you work with rehab? Because I ask because a lot of people want to know what life is like with a brand new baby tripod.
So the very first thing I did actually when I met her and we put her out on the floor, even before I brought her home, was it took us a while because she was fast asleep, poor little thing by that point. And we had to keep trying to wake her up to try and get her to move around so we could observe her movement, because I wanted to videotape that and get that to a very dear friend of mine who is a over 30-year human physical therapist, and also another canine rehabilitation specialist. She's been doing this for a really long time, and because of her human background as well, and she ran a sports rehab place in the world of humans for, I don't know, 8 or 10 years. I immediately contacted her, sent her the video. I knew that I know what I know, and I assume there's a lot that I don't know. So I went to people right away. And as soon as I brought her home, my first thought was, I'm a big believer in the body, no matter how it comes. And I realized that the best thing that I could do for her was be there to support her, but let her figure out her body. I mean, she was the one who was going to have to live with it for the rest of her life. So I said, this is it, girlfriend, we got to figure out. And that's what I did. I'm fortunate to rent a house on a very large farm, and we did walks. I didn't have her do, I mean, she came home, she was about 8 weeks old. We didn't do stairs, but that's not unusual. So I monitored what she did, but I let her figure out her body. And it's a little hard because you get a lot of face plants in a front leg tripod, and your heart it hurts your heart just a little bit each time they hit their face or wipe out, and you have to it didn't phase her at all. So I figured if it wasn't phasing her, I need to suck it up and work with her on it. And I immediately started doing what I know to do. She started getting massage early on so that I would actually know how her body was adjusting as it grew as a tripod. And that's pretty much it. That's how we started the first year.
So Tara was clearly very lucky to find you and reach out. And she's going on, is it 4 years? How old is she now?
She just turned 5 in January.
5.
Yeah.
Wow.
And she's clearly an exemplary companion. So let's talk about this ACE award.
Now, how did she get into the running for that? And what is the ACE award? You can start with that.
So the ACE award, ACE stands for Award for Canine Excellence. And there are 5, it's given every year for, I think 2020 was 20 years. And there are 5 categories. They have search and rescue, service, therapy dog. I'm missing one.
Therapy.
Okay, wait a minute. Search and rescue, like military working, therapy. Oh, that's pretty bad.
Oh, that's okay.
Well, we know there's companion.
We'll list them in the show notes. Yeah.
Penny's, if I know Penny, she's looking it up right now.
I'm looking it up.
So anyways, and there's also exemplary companion. All the other ones require some level of certification. I knew about the ACE award, but I didn't know that I didn't even know there were categories. I just knew there was this ACE award. And a friend of mine messaged me and she said, do you know about this exemplary companion category? You really should enter Tara. It's due tomorrow.
Oh.
And I had to write this 500-word little thing. And I looked at it, I read about it, and I said, oh, what the heck? So I wrote up a 500-word and I sent it off, and I forgot all about it. And about 2 months later, I got an email from them that said, congratulations, Tara is one of the top finalists. Wow. Which completely and totally blew me away. I just, had no idea. And then, so that was like August. And then it was October, because we were going to the North America Diving Dogs regionals. She had qualified for their regionals. They didn't have nationals, they did a virtual nationals. So she had qualified for the regionals, and AKC messaged me and said, or they called me and they said, we really need to do this video and we need to do it next week. And I said, I'm working and I have to go to regionals on Thursday. And so we managed to schedule this Wednesday in between my work. It was utter insanity. So I'm all discombobulated on the video for the award, because that's when they told me. So it was then they told me that she had won it. And I really was totally stunned, but very excited and very honored, because she is so, through her dock diving career and at the Face of America Gettysburg Cycling Challenge, which she and I were a part of in 2019, because she's an adaptive athlete member of a cycling team, honorary adaptive athlete member of a cycling team for Peddlers for the Wounded. So during that ride, when she was there supporting all these people and all of the dock diving, she is so inspirational to people. People say, well, she was born this way, so she doesn't know any better. That's true. And well, it's sort of true. The central nervous system does know, but it's true from her perspective of how she thinks about herself. But what's more important to me that about her is, it's not so much that she doesn't know any better. Even if she knew better, she wouldn't care. She wouldn't care that she's a Tripawd. Right. She'd be like, okay, I'm a Tripawd. Oh, other dogs are born with 4 paws. That's fine. I'm born with 3. Let's go. That's her attitude. So that's why I was so honored and thrilled that she got this award, because it was her level of inspiration to people, and this allowed it to get out to even more people.
So we'll include a link to that video I believe we watched of the finalists and the announcement of Tara. But in your essay, you may have just answered this question, but in your essay, what do you think it was that stood out as Tara being an exemplary companion, to you or to everybody?
I think Bud said it well when in his little interview part in the video. I think it's the fact that she showed up to the world and said, let's go, let's do this. And she does it with such joy and so much love for everybody around her. And that level of inspiration to people that you can do your life that way, that you can live your life that way. I think that really was it. Bud actually said it was the fact that she was a Tripawd, the fact that she was a kind of, I don't know that you'd call it a rare breed, but not a well-known breed in this country. And the fact that she's such a superb athlete despite all that. But I do think it was that she's just such an inspiration. Live your life, just live it. There are no limits. There are no limits.
Yep. That's the true Tripawd spirit. And for anyone watching interested in this, Tara isn't the first Tripawd to have won this particular ACE award, because
she's the
Bart,
second. Yeah, Bart, the Tripawd Vizsla.
A few years ago, was also, he may have been the first to win the companion.
Yeah, I think so, but I'm not sure.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about her dock diving career. How did you know she was going to make a great dock diving dog?
Well, she let me know from day one that she was very water obsessed, and in every way, shape, or form. Water, 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 water. So I said, well, it's a water breed. Okay. And I live about, I don't know, maybe about 40, 50 feet from a pond. So we have a pond practically in our backyard, and there's a nice little slope that goes down to it. But on the other side, there's a more level area, and there's a little shelf that kind of underneath the water. So she could kind of go out into the water, but not be swimming. And I let her do that over and over again. And she just wanted to be there. She just wanted to be there. And then one day, I remember she was 4.5 months. I figured, silly me, we used to have an animal swim center about an hour from us. And I figured that, well, to teach her to, I didn't know she would swim in a circle with one front leg. I didn't know. So I figured I would take her there and put a vest on her and teach her how to swim. No. She was 4.5 months old. She's on her little shelf, and she had just started to kind of lift up her front end and try and paddle with her one paw on her little, I call it her fist. And then she'd put back down and she just looked at me and she just stepped off and swam like an otter,
Wow.
just like an otter. I mean, I have
Wow.
videos of it. It's unbelievable. And I went, okay, well, you can swim. I don't need to teach you that. And it went from that to I cannot I cannot enter water without jumping. Couldn't enter water just walking in. Oh no, we had to jump in. And in the back of my mind, I thought, hey, maybe she'd like to try dock diving at some point. I figured she might think it was fun. She'd have a good time. It'd be something different to do. I didn't think any more than that. And I went to work on some dogs at a big conformation show in Richmond, Virginia that year. So Tara was, I think, like a week short of 6 months old. And my friend Angie was down there showing dogs and she said, they have a dock and a pool here. I said, oh, great. Well, maybe we'll try it. So in between the dogs, I went and paid to do a try it. They call it a try it. You pay like $10, $15, $20 and all day long, you can just try it. And they have you go up and down. There's a ramp that comes out of the water for the dogs. And you go up and down the ramp initially so that your dog knows how to go in. And she was, where's the toy? Where's the toy? She was leaping off the ramp, swimming. And they said, she's too young for us to register her in a competition. But if you bring her back at the end of the day, let's see if she'll go off the dock. She hesitated, I don't know, maybe 10 seconds and went right off the dock.
Wow.
I mean, she didn't even blink. And as a matter of fact, I think her uncle was there showing and they couldn't get him off the dock at all. And I think he was like 4 or 5 years old.
Wow.
Didn't hesitate. So she went off and I thought, okay, that's fine. We know she likes it and I'll go. And I guess that was 3 months later. So she was about 8 months or 9 months old. We found out last minute about a local dock diving competition. And I thought, let's just go see. And the novice division goes up to 10 feet. And her first jump was 8 feet, 10 inches.
Wow.
Her second 2 jumps were almost 10 feet. And then she immediately jumped out of that division.
Wow. Wow.
Just gone from there. She just kept jumping farther and farther and farther. And so far she's hit, when they first start, when they're first starting, they'll hit, as they get their confidence, they'll hit a lot of what they call personal bests. And so she had a whole bunch the next year. She went from 11 feet, 3 inches to, I don't know. Oh, almost 16 feet, 11 feet, 3 inches to almost 16 feet just in the next year. And so, and then she still, but even as late as last year, she hit a new personal best of 19 feet, 9 inches.
Wow.
Congratulations.
That is so awesome. She is clearly the no limits.
But real quick, I'd
tripod.
like to talk about what other exercises and training and preparation are you doing to help a tripod jump so far? We don't encourage people to just take their tripod and do explosive exercise like that. So
No.
what worked up to that? What are you working her with?
And I think Penny, we chatted a little bit about some conditioning stuff when Neon lost his leg and stuff. I was also a competitive athlete for about 30 years of my life and trained with some top people. And so I know a little bit about conditioning. I used to condition horses up in New York way back in my 20s, So she runs loose on the farm. So, and it's funny because what that gives her is that she's working different terrains. Okay, number one. And this is always, and I tell people this is always a balance with any dog, but particularly with tripods, is how much of it is beneficial and at what point do you say this is not a good idea? For instance, she doesn't know she's a bird dog. She really prefers rodents. Birds are boring. And she loves to run rabbits. So what I realized fairly quickly early on is that you can run the rabbit straight, but you can't zigzag the rabbit. You only have one steering mechanism up front. Don't zigzag the rabbit. And I just taught her. She knows now she just can do that. And we do a lot of core conditioning. to build the strength in the hind end and the strength in that front leg gets tired. So we need to, and they'll start to rotate, as you guys know. The whole rib cage will start to rotate. So what muscles are we building up to counteract the rotation of the rib cage? There's a lot of those types of muscles. Flexibility, I mean, it's all the same as you do with people sports. You're just focusing on very specific areas because of them being a tripod. The neck is critical for flexibility. We do neck stretches all the time. And the flexibility, also balance, obviously, and working the central nervous system, which actually in some ways we're just upping that on Tara with a front leg tripod. She doesn't have much independent rear suspension, right? They mostly hop behind. One of the best things I can do besides, besides the core conditioning is to get the central nervous system to recognize there are two individual legs back there. And so we're doing different exercises and we're getting pretty creative about it on how do we get her to recognize, oh, this is my left hind leg, this is my right hind leg, this is doing that, and this is doing this. And it's really important, not just for the dock diving, but actually for her running the farm, because I've noticed since we started doing that, that even when we had all the ice in February, when she starts to slip or she trips, she recovers very quickly and it doesn't have as much of an impact on her. And of course, swimming. You can't beat swimming. You cannot beat swimming because if you look at the rib cage as a keel, like of a boat, that's completely supported. So she doesn't have to worry about doing this on land. It's completely supported. And then she can also kick independently with her hind legs. So the swimming, the core conditioning, and then I go back to my sports and we do powering up hills. She's not allowed to come fast down hills. It's too much wear and tear on the front leg.
That's
So
great
I
to hear.
think short term and I think long term.
That's really great to hear. And we, you know, every dog is different, and we really encourage tripod owners or tripod guardians to get an exercise program designed specifically for their dog. And that's why the Tripawds Foundation will reimburse anyone who takes their three-legged animal to get evaluated by a certified therapist.
I just read that. I think that's wonderful that you guys do that, because I am such a huge fan of that. And even if you can tell people, sometimes you go to multiple rehabilitation people. I do massage. I highly recommend it. It's really, really critical for those. Tara actually just had her 5-year checkup with the Skilos, the rehabilitation, Dr. Faith there. And we x-rayed both front legs, the entire spine. She has a slightly luxating patella on the right hind. So we x-rayed the right hind. We are thrilled with as hard as the dog runs her life and how much dog diving. There's some osteoarthrosis in certain areas that you're not surprised. Her spine is almost completely clean.
Wow.
So it really is a testament to doing, it's worth the work. It really is. They're athletes. And even if they're not competing in sports, think of them as an athlete, because it's a lot of work to move that frame around on 3 legs.
It is. Penny, how is Neon doing these days?
He's doing really well. I mean, he'll be coming up on his 12th birthday in June.
Wow.
He looks awesome. I just saw him recently. He looks awesome. Great physical condition.
Yeah. He did, you know, with the pandemic did a lot as far as tapering off, and it was my fault. I didn't keep up with a lot of the work that I would normally do if I was competing with him. So he lost a lot of muscle mass, and some of that also comes with the age. But he's lost some muscle mass in the rear, and we're working on that. Like Mary Pat said, I'm doing a lot of hill work with him now. He loves his birds. I mean, he's a bird dog. So
he's a true flat coat.
But yeah, we're doing a lot of hill work, and you know, it's, as she said, we go up the hill, come down it sideways the long ways, and I'm getting a lot of exercise as well. So not only is it beneficial for him, it's beneficial for me.
That's great. And Tara and Neon are both very lucky to have both of you who understand the limits and the fine line between just letting them be a dog and seeing when they're going too far. So that's really important, and we're really happy you shared that
Yeah,
information.
thank you so much. We could do a show on each of you individually. Maybe we should do that someday. These stories are just amazing and proof that your hard work to keep your tripod fit, it really pays off. And just want to thank you for taking such great care of them, and again for reaching out to the Tripawds Foundation and donating. And I mean, we're just so honored to have met both of you. Thank you so much for being here.
Because that money is going towards programs that will
Yeah.
reimburse for rehab for anyone with a three-legged dog, help pay for amputation surgery, assisted devices, and more. So thanks again for sharing those stories with us.
Thank you all for what you do. It really, really, really helps a lot of people.
Yes, and I second that. The utterly amazing foundation, and I'm really grateful to Penny for bringing it to my attention because I didn't even know. Wonderful what you guys do. Thank you very much.
That makes it all
Okay.
worthwhile. Thank you so much.
Look forward to following along, and everyone, we will have all the appropriate links and videos and everything you need to know about these two amazing tripods in the Tripawds blog post that we do about this show. Thank you for being here.
And thanks for listening and watching. 3 Paws Up to Tara and Neon, and many thanks to Mary Pat and Penny for sharing their stories. Find out how you can support the Tripawds Foundation and share your story on the Tripawds Honor Roll at tripawds.org/give.
He's a three-legged dog and he's still pretty good.